I'm going to show you how to practice your pronunciation so that you can improve much, much faster. This is a method that I use whenever I'm trying to learn a new way to say or a new dialect so that I can impress my friends. All right, it starts with knowledge. Everything that you do is going to be based on knowing what you're doing right from the start. If you don't understand that there are different sounds, you're not going to know how to practice them and you're not going to know how to pronounce them. So the very first thing you have to do is study. You have to study specifically the IPA vowel chart and the IPA consonant chart. This is really important. This is going to help you understand that there are 13-ish different vowels in English and that there are a total of some 43 sounds in English altogether. So what you should be able to do based on your studying is you should be able to write all of the vowels and all of the consonants. It's very easy. E, A, O, U, I, E. You should be able to write all of those vowels exactly like that. You should also be able to do all of the consonants. T, T, K, B, D, G, M, N, V, V, S, Z, Sh, J, Ch, and J. And then all of the semivowels, W, R, L, and oops.
That's funny.
That's funny. And Y, also H. You should be able to write all of that from memory because you know and understand that there are different sounds in English and all of these different sounds produce a different meaning. Now, I have the smallest eraser. Okay. Okay. Now, that is the study part. Now, after you study, you're going to have to practice. So, next part is practice. So, if you know all of the different sounds, next thing you have to do is practice all of the different sounds. You can do this by yourself. And what I recommend is that you practice in front of a mirror. Now, I understand that's really uncomfortable for a lot of people, but if you feel kind of shy, then what you can do, this is what I recommend, is you can get a little tiny mirror that people use for shaving in the shower, and you can put it in your shower so that you only see your mouth. That way you don't see the rest of your face and you won't be as shy. And there, when you're in the shower, you can practice and nobody's going to laugh at you unless you take a shower with other people, in which case, go for it. When you're practicing, a shower is another good example of the amount of time you should be practicing. You shouldn't be practicing for more than 10 minutes because you might go crazy. So if you take a 10-minute shower, that's a good amount of time to practice. And you probably, if you're living in California, should not take a 10-minute shower. Should probably be less than that. But let me show you how to practice. If you know the IPA chart, you can go through each sound of the IPA chart. If you know it from memory, you can go through it that way. But what I recommend is actually to carry a notebook around with you, and you should think of a sound or a word that you want to practice. And throughout the day, if you hear that sound, you should write it in your notebook. So if the sound is ah, for example, a lot of people struggle with the sound ah. Somebody says that. Just anywhere around you, you hear somebody say that house, that car, whatever. So you say, all right, that. You write the word in your notebook, you write the spelling, and then you write the IPA version. That. And if you don't know the IPA version, you can look it up and then practice this sound. This is what you practice inside the shower. So you can practice saying that. Look at your mouth and make sure that you're pronouncing them in the right way according to how you studied. So you're saying that. But don't just practice very boring. You have to say it slow, and then say it fast, and then say it slow, and then say it fast. Say that. And then you should say it with a different emotion. You should say it happy, that. You should say it sad, that. You should say it lazy, like that. You should put on a different emotion or a different feeling to the word. And that will be meaningful practice for real life when you're going to actually use it in a sentence. So, speaking of a sentence, you can create a phrase or a sentence to repeat to yourself. That house. And you can practice this in the shower. That house, 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 that house. Practice as many ways as you possibly can think of to create a different emotion about that very, very short phrase. But remember, don't practice too long because you might go crazy. And if you can do that every single day with a different sound and a different phrase, going through all of the vowels and all of the consonants, eventually you will get better. Okay, but that's not it. After you practice, you also have to test. The knowledge and the practice is nothing if you don't test. Now, a test for your pronunciation means that you're going out into the world, into the city, into the school, into your workplace, wherever, and you're speaking to native speakers. Native speakers, if you can find them. If you can't, then just other English as a foreign language speakers are good practice. So you need to use the words, use the phrases, use the sounds that you've been practicing in real life with another person. So you can have that face-to-face validation and confirmation of everything that you've practiced. None of this makes sense if you don't actually use it in your life. And then, the next day, you start it all over again. So, make sure that you know all of the vowels, all of the consonants of English. You understand how they're pronounced from the back of the mouth to the front of the mouth, if it's a stop consonant, if it's a fricative consonant. Ow! Oh, are you okay? Okay. Make sure you understand how each of these are pronounced. And then practice them. Actually practice them. You can do that by yourself in your shower. You can do it while you're driving, but don't look in the mirror if you're practicing while you're driving. Just practice to yourself. But you have to practice out loud. Don't say the sound in your head. That's not good enough. You have to actually make a sound with your voice. And then talk to actual people, as many people as you can every single day. I used to tell my students that if they have an opportunity to speak with a native speaker back and forth for 1 hour, that's better than coming to class. Don't come to class if you have that opportunity. So that's how important a test actually is. And then the next day, do it all again. Every single day, do it, and eventually you're going to be so good that you won't even remember when you didn't know how to say Ralph's Let's go to Ralph's. It's going to be so easy for you. Like, it's going to be awesome. All right. Good luck.